Doesn't look like. All right. Oh, Tingles, he said it's all right. So we're good. You can hear us, Jamie. Can you hear us right now? Tell us again. All right. This is Eric Anderson. I am here with Josh Dobbie Feathers, Eau Claire, Wisconsin. And we're wearing our Kubb shirts. I got a Madison Kubb shirt. We got a DMK. Des Moines Kubb. I got a Madison Kubb shirt here. Very excited today. Yesterday I got to sit down with the 2012 national champs, Kubb Championship, and that was a great, probably 50-minute interview. Probably not gonna go 50 minutes today. We got our kids in the house, but when yep, all right, Jamie, and you chat away. If you want a question to Josh here, you put it in here and we'll make sure you get it. But we just want to go over a few things. I have a few random questions for Josh. I think he might have a question or so for me, maybe. But we just want to kind of just talk about Kubb and everything like that. So first of all, welcome back to Eau Claire. This is your third weekend in a row, is that right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I've been traveling a lot. Came up for nationals, but also had a couple trips for work in here. So I always got to stop by the USA Kubb World headquarters when I'm in town.
And you got to see the Stap King.
That's right. Yep. I saw the name on the three names on there. Brought a tear to my eye. Those guys are great. They're going to be great stewards for you of that trophy.
That's good.
I'm going to bring it back to Des Moines next year, but they'll be good stewards for me, I'm
sure. They'll hold it for a year.
Right.
They'll hold it for a year. What was you, speaking of the Stap King, if I may ask, you know, we last weekend we kind of unveiled it at the firehouse. We wanted to wait until you and Dwayne got there, but what was your first impression of the big beast?
It was insane. I did not expect that at all. I'm like waiting for someone, you know, the sports hero of mine, or you know, someone like that to show up and get this trophy, and it was very emotional. I don't know why. I mean, but just seeing Dwayne and I's name up there, Team Knockerheads, that was really cool.
That's cool. That's cool, man. We next year I'd love to get a picture of all the people that are here that have their name on it, to get a group picture maybe before or something on Friday night or Saturday morning or something. I think that'd be because actually we had peanut butter root beer snakes. 2 of the 3 were here for that. Holy guacamoles weren't here, savage stick flickers weren't here, but the ringers were here obviously, and you guys were here. Yep. So we had 3 of the 5 previous ones here. So something I probably should have thought of or something, but we'll get that next year. That'll be fun, and we'll have 3 more people to be there. Maybe we'll get everybody. Maybe next year is our 7-year jubilee or something, and we'll get all the past champions to come and promote it that way. So
yeah, it's interesting looking at that king, because you don't see the same names on that trophy at all. And it just kind of shows you that any year it could be anybody's trophy, right?
Yep.
There's just so much parity with this game right now that, you know, there's no team out there. They could probably win it 2 or 3 times in a row.
You guys were pretty close this year. You made it to the final. I mean,
but
let's just cut to the chase. You were in the final, right? So, I mean, yes and no. I mean, I think you guys proved yourself back-to-back finals. You know, last year you beat a great team in the final, and this year you played against a up-and-coming team. And I talked to them yesterday, and yeah, I mean, you guys were there back-to-back years. You know.
I'd like to see them again.
Yeah.
Those guys are great.
Yeah.
You guys are listening. Always a pleasure to lose to you guys. It's awesome. There he is.
But next year,
that ain't gonna happen.
Ain't gonna happen.
That's a plan, but plans go awry. Yeah.
So you haven't tossed yet since.
No, I haven't thrown.
Okay.
I just can't do it yet.
You need a little break. That's a long day.
Just been watching the video, right? Breaking it down, seeing what we got to do as a team to get back up there. So. Pretty rough to watch over and over. That same baseline Kubb stays up, same you know, miss in the group, you know, same punishment Kubb every time, but you got to figure it out, and hopefully there's some things that we can change as a team that will hopefully complement our game a little bit better just by breaking some of that down. So
for you guys, and I was surprised to hear this, because I thought well, I guess I should just say this. How did you guys practice? I mean, we talked about it over lunch and everything like that, but I want to let everybody, how did you guys practice before the tournament? I mean, you guys didn't put in time as a team at all,
We couldn't.
Right?
We couldn't. Dwayne, living down in Kansas City, Kansas, Leavenworth area, Couldn't practice with him. We talked about getting together. It just, never happened. He was going to come up. We were going to go down. But at the end of the day, Grant and I put in a lot of hours practicing. We got a ranked ladder type match system that we play in Des Moines, and it just seemed like every other weekend we were playing and there was something on the line. It was one-on-one. So it's, in my opinion, it's not Kubb, because Kubb's a team sport, but it's really good practice, and it gives you knots in your stomach just the same. Losing number 1 versus number 2. He beat me 5 days before we came up to Eau Claire, and he has the number 1 tag right now. So we'll be fighting for that back and forth, all summer, all fall, all winter. Hopefully it's another mild winter. We can get a lot of practice in then. And Dwayne, the dude practices. Just from his game, you can tell that he's throwing. He's told me his game, when he goes and practices, he does it in sand. And he's like, because if you can hit in sand, you can hit anywhere. You don't get the bounces that you do on a field. You don't get the gimmies or the slops. So when you play in the sand, it's either you hit it or you miss, right? Everything just dies in the sand, and he religiously has been practicing in the sand coming up to this, and I think it showed. He was on his top game all of Saturday, all of Sunday, and it's just that we got outplayed by the Kubb Sickles, and they had the home field advantage as well. Something that we will never have here. But they could have done it even in enemy territory. They could have done it. They're a good team.
Let's talk about that real quick. You went that route. What was it like for you guys to play? This was the first, I think, final, I guess, that I've been at least part of, that it really felt like there was vested spectators and more than just like 20 or something like that, right? What was it like for you guys to play in the final, or maybe throughout Sunday morning, maybe even being here in Eau Claire? And you guys faced an Eau Claire team in the semifinals and then in the final, but I guess most specifically the final. What was that like for you guys?
That was an awesome experience for me. The no words can describe being able to hear the tension even in the crowd. When you miss, it's you can just hear all of the air just come out of the whole crowd. If you do good, everyone cheers. That's a great feeling. Things like Jamie Thingolstad, I think he had his camera out and it was really loud. Well, it wasn't that his camera was loud, it's when you're trying to throw and he's getting pictures of you. That click, click, click is amplified, and that's the kind of stuff you have to consider when you're in a finals game, I guess. And I loved it. I thought it was great. It was probably a little more nervous for everybody, but it was all the same, but I was just happy that that we had so many people so close to the field. That was cool. So I know we had talked and you were kind of asking both the teams, you care if they're up here in your grill? And I'm like, bring it, Let's get these folks, let's put these folks on a show, and give them what they came for. So.
And you guys put on a show. It was fun watching you guys both play, both teams, and I've told this to a lot of people, is that, I've probably said it on here, that if you watch that final, that's a sport. It's a backyard game for all of you guys too when you're back home and everything like that, but for that hour and 15 or hour and a half, whatever it was, that was a sport. And seeing you and Mark go back and forth with the drills and seeing explosions at 4 meters and baseline shots and baseline misses. That was fun for everybody.
What made it a sport for me, I guess, during the day, obviously competing and you want to win, and long ride home. Still happy with the second, but
and that's a big medal we got for you guys this year.
It was a nice medal. That was awesome. That was cool. But going back, watching the Ustream with Aaron commentating, that really put it in my mind as a sport, because he's able to he did a great job commenting. He's like, okay, here's where we're at in the game. Here's things you may not know as just a watcher or whatever, and just having him kind of commentate that was really rounded that out as a sport to me. That was pretty cool. So
yeah, it was. I have fun watching both the videos. A video that I think your wife Jamie took, and it's from the back, but you can see the whole action. You can see everything. But then the camera angle that Paul had set up and Aaron was commentating was kind of a sky cam, almost looking right down on the mid pitch line, if you will. And next year I'm hoping to put a few dollars in and get a real proper whatever needed for webcam to kind of move it and stuff. But that was really neat to be able to look at that, and because you could get a really good feeling of how close you and Mark were both putting those Kubbs in there, man.
It was pretty cool. Just throwing Mark's drilling Kubb Sickles are not the team they were last year. They are a completely different team, and
we kept that a secret up here, didn't we?
Oh man, I wish you would have told me. My land. We felt, we get past Tad Kubler,
right.
Then, we got the Kubb Sickles, last year they were all right. They could still beat us, we got to, but not this year. They're only got, they're going to get better. That's the thing, they're not, it's not they're one and done, If anyone's going to have their two names on it, it's probably those guys, to be perfectly honest. So.
Yeah. Or maybe when little Cy gets a little bit older for the ringers.
Yeah,
maybe,
exactly.
Yeah, that was fun. That was fun.
Put on a good show.
So for you individually, did you practice any different, I guess as an individual, did you practice any differently this year being on a 3-person team, knowing that you're going to be on a 3-person team, as opposed to last year when you played as a 2-person team, or other tournaments where you play as a 2-player team? I guess that was kind of the one big question I want to ask you.
Yeah, I did actually, kind of. I don't think I've thrown an 8-meter shot since Rockford.
Did you hear that, America? World Rockford, that was middle of May.
Yeah, I've just been practicing. I got a couple different regimens going with the 3-person team. I think Dwayne and I, with picking up Grant, the idea there was, we felt like having 2 good 8-meter specialists on a 3-person team was the way to go, and then having just a short person to kind of blast things up a little bit. We felt that was the way to do it, so I had been kind of just practicing throwing 5 and throwing 2 batons and trying to knock them all down, and then doing 10 with 2 and seeing how many I could knock down with that. So and Grant was just throwing 8 meters, all day long, all summer. Same with Dwayne. He was practicing in sand though, so he was a little bit more rigid, I guess, in his own personal training, but that's with his personality,
Right.
So that's a big difference. Last year I was throwing 8-meter, I was throwing Kubbs, and I was blasting. So I was able to focus, and I don't know if that hurt us or helped us in the end. It's hard to tell. But that's what we did a little bit different, I guess, as a team. And
you said earlier too that I don't want to put words in your mouth, so if I get it wrong, let me know. But you felt like Grant went second. It was you would throw your 2, Grant would go next, and then Dwayne would go last. You kind of felt like Grant was kind of in a no-win situation.
Yeah, we kind of set him up a little bit, and he's a big boy. He can take it, right, Grant? But when you're practicing 8 meters and you're practicing 8 meters, and that's all you're doing for a couple months leading up to a tournament like this, and then the blaster doesn't do his job and he leaves one for you at 4. You think about that for a little bit, and you're like, okay, this guy has to go up to the line. He has to be 1 for 1 at 4 meters, and now we're asking him to be 1 for 1 at 8. That's hard. Yeah. That's hard. So, I haven't looked at the stats or anything. I thought he did a great job for the role he was given. And but then you look at it and you're like, well, maybe I should have been doing this, or Dwayne maybe should have done. And I guess you can really overanalyze it, and that's where I think for us we may want to take a playbook, kind of the playbook that the Kubb Sickles have, right? And it's like, if you're feeling it, throw. Yep. They're so laid back about it. They don't let nerves get to them, and we're so logical about it, and that may have been one of the things that led to our demise, so to speak. So I don't want to give all our secrets away here, but
this is and you'll watch the interview that I did yesterday, and you haven't seen it yet. You've been on the big highway, but you're going to really enjoy it, listening to those kids talk and see how they envision it. and how they compare it to maybe like they all played soccer and how they compare it to like a penalty kick and different things like that. Because I think for me, I mean, I played sports growing up, but I never played sports like at an elite level by any means. I mean, like, right? But it's like, so it's interesting. We got a question in here, so I'm going to stop talking. So we got a question, I believe, from Minneapolis area. It says here, game 1 of the finals had 3 penalty Kubbs. 2 on Kubb, 1 on Knockerheads. Would have you played any of these differently in hindsight? That's the question, first question. Why don't I just leave it at that one, and then we'll go to the next one. Is that all right?
So the question is, would I have played things differently rotation-wise with who was throwing where?
I guess
or are we
maybe,
talking about Kubbs?
Let's talk about. I guess we could talk about 2 different things. We could talk about placement. Okay. For any, obviously you have no control over where they put a penalty Kubb, but you have a say in where you put your penalty Kubb at. So maybe answer that question, and then if you remember any of the specific ones that you threw out, did you get a little too greedy? Did you just take a bad bounce? I mean, what was kind of? Yep.
All right, I don't remember. There was the one I remember. I don't think it was the second game. I think you're right, Jamie. There wasn't any penalty Kubbs in the second. But the one I threw out in the first game, it was on top of another Kubb, and then it kind of fell back short, if I remember right. I can't control that.
Right.
I mean, you can only do so much. I would have thrown it probably the same way. And, you do that half the time, 99% of the time, maybe it's in.
Right.
But, that's why they're not round, and that's why they're square, or cubed anyway. I think with the punishment Kubbs, where they placed, I thought it was really unique that they would have, placed it on the back line behind the group we were throwing at. And maybe that was just, they were feeling it. I mean, they're a team that it's all about, owning it, right? So maybe they were just like, if they see this in their periphery, they're not going to be able to hit anything. Maybe it was that type of thing. Mm-hmm. When Mark threw one of his Kubbs, he had a pretty. I've seen him throw better that day. He had a good group, and he threw that punishment, and we huddled up. I said, "All right, we need to huddle up. This is, we can go big or we can go home."
Right, it's the final.
Right.
Right.
So we huddled up as a team, and I asked the boys. I said, "How many you think they're going to use?" And I think Dwayne and Grant, 4.5. And I was like, "Do you think they'll miss? Do you think they'll miss any?" No, they're not going to miss. It's the Kubb-sicles. They're not going to miss. Right. So I was like, all right, if you think if it was going to be like 5.5, or we thought maybe they'd use 6 on that group, we would have probably put that punishment Kubb somewhere else, and we put it on the back line, found a good, nice, flat, dead spot to put it in, and they ended up, using, I believe, all of their batons.
All 6.
All 6 to get the group down, and didn't take a shot at that punishment Kubb. And that's, hindsight. Hindsight, I'll tell you right where I'd put that. Right on the center line. Right, baton away from the center pin on the opposite side of the king. Right. Right? But, they just had a bad round, and you don't expect that, and you play it safe, and, I'd probably do it the same way.
Here's a question for you. This is the one thing I get kind of curious about. Would have you put it there, or would you put it behind the king?
I don't put them behind the king. Not anymore. Not at this level.
But it's the same distance as on the side.
I would put it on the center line, and I'd put it a baton length from the pin towards the king, right on the center line. And that's just a mental thing, I guess, more than it's like, I'm kind of throwing that in your face. Like, you can't hit anything. It's on the. I'm not even going to put it behind the king. I want the extra, 7 centimeters. Yep. So, I was trying to think. I think we did that in Madison, but it didn't help.
Mm-hmm. In Rockford?
Yeah, in Rockford. Yep.
Yep.
In Rockford, we did that, but you can't do that against the ringers.
Yeah, right. Actually, it's kind of interesting. I'm seeing fewer and fewer Kubbs being placed behind the king. And I mean, at the top teams, I guess it's a relatively easy shot now, especially if you have a righty and lefty on your team,
Yeah.
But even in that instance, sometimes I'm thinking to myself, like, I don't know if I want to win that way. Like, I'm just, in my head, sometimes I'm just thinking, like, I don't know if I want to go down by a team knocking over the king that way or not. I don't know. I mean, I have no idea what I'm talking about. But I just sometimes, because I haven't seen it a whole lot, and hearing you say you'd put it on the center, you know, I mean, I think most people would think that putting it behind the king is going to be more of a difficult shot than on that center line right there. But you're playing with the people's heads a little bit that way too, putting it on the center line, right?
Yeah. Well, I think if you put it behind the king, they're going to use just over 1 baton average, right? Because they're gonna get that king kind of. They're gonna go, oh, I don't want to get close to the king, and they might miss wide or whatever. But if in that instance we would have had a line at 4 meters, guess what I've been doing all day? I've been throwing at 4 meters.
Right.
I haven't been throwing at 5 or 6. Right. You know, put it behind the king, it's a 5 meter shot.
Game's over.
Yeah.
I mean, for if you put it on the side, your game's over.
Right. Yep. So. You only do that when you think they're going to use all 6 batons in the group, though, you know, because they're going to hit it if they have a 6th.
Right. Here, in our comment here from big metro area, even if the Kubb is hit, making a team throw close to the king could really stress them. That's true.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe
like I said, it takes more than 1 average baton to.
And maybe they're thinking about that when they're blasting at the other ones. Maybe. I mean, who knows? I mean,
it depends on the team too. I mean, Kubb sickles, it'd be.
I don't think they care. I think they maybe want you to put it behind there. I don't know.
They probably throw it at the opposite side and like try to get it to kind of tap off the king and then hit the Kubb over. I mean, they're cool like that.
Yeah, they are. They're cool cats. And
oh yeah.
And actually, I kind of learned a little bit from them yesterday too. And I told them, I said, I think I'm going to try to speed up my game a little bit. Just that little bit fraction. Actually, I threw some numbers out yesterday. And I said, hey guys, tell me what these numbers mean. And I think it was like 20 to 30 with a max, 20 seconds to 30 seconds with a max of 40, and then like 30 seconds to 50 seconds with a max of like a minute 10. Those first numbers are their average time to throw 6 batons. Bam, 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 bam. There was times they're in the low 20s. And then the other teams, and I did a little quick, and I didn't measure all of your throws, and I didn't measure all of, but I had Tad Kubler's, I had yours, and I had Kubbit's because you guys posted those videos. So those are videos that I was looking at. And it wasn't uncommon for in a stress-filled situation, what I would call a stress-filled situation, for any of you other 3 teams to be in the mid-50s, low 50s. For them in that same situation, they're throwing it out about 25 to 30 seconds. That's interesting. I'm just saying that's very interesting to me.
That's just confidence.
Yeah, it is.
That's just them being able to go up to the line and throw. Yep. I mean, I can't do it.
No, I can't do it either. I might try it when I say it now, but maybe I'll try that theory when I come down to Des Moines. But the problem is when I come down to Des Moines, I've driven a long way and I want to play my best. And if I don't win, I'm not going to cry about it. But you want to play my best, and I'm like, if I miss a couple that way, I think to myself,
maybe it was because...
Yeah, maybe I didn't focus enough or something like that. I don't know, but I was very curious, and I asked him about team reputation and team identity, and I think, so I talked to Aaron about that one night, and I think different teams are starting, if you know, obviously if a team's a bad losers, you teams get that identity or reputation, but I don't think we have a whole lot of those type of things out there. But it's like the teams that do win and people pay attention to and they play more throughout the day, those teams are starting to get more and more reputations. I think, you know, your guys' reputation is people don't want to throw 8 Kubbs against you guys. They don't want to throw 10 Kubbs against you guys. That's just that's people say if we're going to beat the Team Knockerheads, we got to knock them out quick. We got to destroy them, snap their neck in the second or third round, and let it be over. Yeah. And with them, it's like these kids just get up there and throw. Like, don't they care? Are they that confident? Whatever. And the thing is, after interviewing them yesterday, they care, and they care a lot. And it's just that trust they have in themselves. And if they don't knock it over, their teammate's going to knock it over. And they're like blood brothers, man.
Yeah.
You know.
They have a similar style, in my opinion, as a Tad Kubler.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah.
I think their styles really work well. I'd like to see that game, honestly. That would have been fun.
No, you're right.
There would have been some good-natured japing going on and some talking, you know. And with us, you know, we probably come off as a little too serious for this game in competition format. But at the end of the day, we're going to shake your hand, tell you it was a good game, give you a hug, clap as much as we can, clap till we bleed, hands bleed, you know, for you if you beat us. And all the other teams that, you know, were there, it was amazing. So.
And you guys came with, speaking of your team and your club and everything from down from Des Moines, you guys came with like about 30 or so people. I mean, how many people made? You guys had six teams?
Chris counted them all up, and we had like 35, including family, friends, 6 teams. We had a 6-person team, all girl, 6-person team. We were well represented, and I think 4 of our teams made it to the Sweet 16, and then 2 teams from Des Moines made it to the Final 8. Yep.
It's not bad.
No, this was, we were doing the math, looking at former years we came up here, and this was the best showing, average-wise. You take all the teams, kind of crumple them up, and put an average together of where you ranked, right, as a club. Right. This was our best year as a club.
Nice.
Yeah. So we were really very proud of the club.
Right. It's still hard for me to comprehend that people are willing to come from Des Moines up here to play Kubb, but I love it. I mean, anywhere. It's still hard for me to comprehend that somebody would come from like Wausau to Eau Claire to play Kubb, but it's just a great time, isn't it?
Oh, we do more than play Kubb, man.
Right, that's true. That's true. We get to, you guys stopping through. You guys had lunch today. Kids are playing. We got the 4 kids are playing right now. I mean, it's a beautiful day.
Yep. We
have to sit in the shade. It's not as hot as it is in Des Moines right now, but it's
you got rain though.
We got rain last night.
We haven't seen rain for a while.
Yep. So, but here's another thing. You put the video together about drilling in Costar.
That funny. The most important thing for anyone watching is not the drilling part of that. It's how you hold them. That really makes it or breaks it for any team. So how you hold them. That's very important.
How did you come up with the names for that? Did you just driving across the country one day, you kind of came up with it, or what?
Well, one of my favorite restaurants back home is a place called Monterey. It's a Mexican restaurant.
Yeah.
And the servers will come out, and they'll have all the plates kind of stacked up. Right. So that was the Monterey.
That's the Monterey. Okay, I gotcha. Yeah. I was wondering where that one came from. I didn't get to catch that one. But okay.
Yeah, and I think the others are self-explanatory.
The Jenga Swedish style.
You see that when you're watching Worlds a lot. The two will go this way, 2 go that way, and you just keep going. Yeah. It's good. And then the blue collar styles, just put them all in one hand and just work that arm. Yep.
My favorite is, I'm a kind of in between a Jenga Swedish style and the lazy man.
The lazy boy.
Lazy boy, right?
Well, you got a lazy boy. It's like you got a lazy boy a little bit just so you can get them. You don't want to bend over and pick up 10 different Kubbs, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you're gonna be wore out by Sweet 16 if you do that. So it's all about self-preservation.
Speaking of wore out, I was thinking earlier what kind of questions I could ask you. And when I talked to the team, Kubb Schools yesterday, I asked them what they did Saturday night. And they went out for some Mexican food, a little Mexican restaurant here in town. And then they all fell asleep by 7. And so I started thinking what kind of condition I was in on Sunday. I was hurting. I mean, I had to sit down. And granted, I'm outside a lot, blah, blah. The day before, we were setting up pitches. You helped. Thank you again for doing that and everything. But like, I was beat, I was drained, I was dehydrated beyond belief. I was hurting, and I started thinking about it. I'm like, I couldn't have played on Sunday at a level that I wanted to play at, Do you think more? I went out Saturday night. There was a lot of teams were out. They were going to be playing on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying they won because they went to bed at 7 o'clock or whatever, but I'm just like, I started thinking about it, and I'm like, teams might really start thinking about on Saturday night just going back to the hotel and watching some TV and drinking some water, or at least going out and drinking water. I don't know.
I don't know, man.
I'm just throwing that out.
Firehouse is pretty sweet.
Yeah, Firehouse is nice.
Got bubble hockey down there and foosball.
Right. It's a long 2 days, I guess is what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, it's a long 2 days, and it goes pretty quick. I love the 2-day format. I mean, we were here 2 days last year anyway, and it was all in one day. We stayed over, did a Liney's tour on Sunday, so I was like, yes, this is great. I'm going to be here anyway, right? And then you start thinking about, what you said. It's like, I got to get up at 7. I got to get some practice in, and then, I got Tag Kubler out of the gate, at 9 o'clock in the morning.
Yep.
Oh, man, I should probably go get some rest. But then I saw Cole and Eric down there, and I saw that they left before us, and I was like, oh, we got to go.
Time to go. Time to go. Time to go.
was trying to, you know, buy him shots, but
it wasn't working.
No,
it wasn't working. But
so I think overall, I think we were fairly representative of the teams that were going to continue playing, you know, on Sunday. You get some sleep in, you get up early, and you get back into it. Nobody goes crazy. It's the people that get knocked out on Saturday. Those are the ones that are making up for those folks that are playing Sunday.
Right.
Fish bowl. Inside joke with the big red machine.
I was thinking about this year. I saw in some of the European tournaments, they give out bottles of champagne for the winners, and they spray them. Everything. I thought, man, it's probably good that I didn't do this year, because the Coopsicles are all 19 years old, so that one's been very.
But then again, maybe they, you know, 7 o'clock's pretty early. Is there such thing as over resting?
That's true.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Something to think about.
Yeah. No, it's. I think about it more and more, and I really, watching you guys and seeing when the draw came out, if you will, and seeing the path that you guys were going to have to go through to get back to a semifinal or final. You know, there probably wasn't at least recently a tougher team that wasn't seeded than Kubb Snipers. Then you had to face them in the group round of 16.
Yeah.
Round of 8, you had to play Ted Kubler, which I think a lot of people consider them to be probably a top
slugger,
4 or 5 team in the country.
Yep.
And then you had guys go against Scott Forrester, the driller, for Kubitz. And then you had to play against Team Coopsicles, which, as I told you inside too, a lot of people weren't talking about them, but I had seen that they had improved their drill, so I was kind of just keeping that on the low a little bit. But you guys had a tough road. I mean, you guys must have been physically and mentally drained after the tournament.
We were just getting warmed up.
Guys ready for some more.
Yeah. No, it was there was a lot on our minds when that live draw came out. I'm sitting there watching it. I was on work business, but I fired up the computer and watched that live draw, and you started saying some of these names that we're going to have to play. You know, the Knockerheads are going to have to go through this, you know, meat grinder, so to speak, and I was just sitting there going, oh, this can't be happening, you know, this should be easier, you know. So, and it was frustrating, I'm sure, for any team. I felt like the Snipers were probably one of the best teams playing in the tournament. They came in with a head of steam.
Right.
They were bringing hardware back to Appleton like nothing.
Right.
You know, all year they've been doing that, and then we get to play them Sunday. It's like, you know, before the game even started, I talked to Chad and Rick, and I'm like, it should be a Sunday game. Sorry, you know, whoever wins, but it should be a Sunday game.
Right.
And as we continue to grow, and as we start drilling in the corners better, a la Coopsicles, that's going to happen more often. You're going to see elite teams get knocked out and be in the consolation. You know, you're going to see teams that that come out of nowhere, right?
Right.
And make a run for it, and paving their way through teams that are established.
Yep.
This is going to happen. This is the future of your tournament. It's, you know, you're going to have to go into every game and do exactly what, you know, the Team Knockerheads did, and pave your way through all of these elite teams.
Right.
That's going to be common. And, you know, just, you know, thinking about next year's live draw, right? Oh my gosh.
Right,
that is good.
True.
You know, I mean, I'm glad I'm on the other end of Coopsicles, but think of those other two teams. I mean, Leinenkugels came out of nowhere, started drilling. They were insanely good.
Yeah.
Really good long game, really good short game. I mean, Scott Forrester, we know what he can do. His two teammates were amazing, short game, long game. And, okay, so there's two that came out of nowhere, and they make it third and fourth, right?
Right.
And maybe you had some inside knowledge on, because those are Eau Claire teams. But for me, you know, from Des Moines, I'm thinking, you know, last year or whatever, didn't see that happening, right? So how many more of those are going to happen, you know?
And if you think about it, Appleton, I told the story when I talked to Aaron Ellringer, is when Paul and I went over to play last year in August, they were asking questions why we were drilling where we were drilling. And then look what they did. So who's the next Appleton? I mean, there could be 2 Appletons that are waiting to happen right now that we don't even know about, right?
Yeah. There was a team. You have to help me with the name. They were from Minnesota. They were in our group. Who more do?
Yep.
Awesome guys. If you guys are watching, you guys are awesome. So their learning curve was about a half a game before they started drilling in the corner with confidence. I mean, a half of a game.
Yep.
Okay, multiply that by what? 80 teams? Okay. Everyone's, okay, here, I got a question for you. How many people...
What?
We're getting into this now, right?
This isn't supposed to work this way. Okay.
I got a question for you. How about this? Okay, so let's think back. We will take 2007, 2008. We won't talk about that. 2009, how many people were drilling in the corner? Okay, 2010. 1. 2011. What would you say?
I think maybe half a dozen at the most. At the most.
Okay.
And at what level? I think some of them weren't at nearly the level.
Doesn't matter what level.
Doesn't matter.
Okay.
Yep.
They're just drilling the corner. They understand why people do that.
Right. Yep.
Or what the reasoning is. This year, how many did you see out there?
This year, even before the tournament, I would say most Eau Claire teams at least have that knowledge that you're trying to do it. But at the end of the day, there were 76 teams.
76?
Right. I don't know. I mean, it's a lot closer to 76 than it is 0, right?
That's a J curve, man.
Yeah.
Right.
No, it's true. That's true.
That's crazy. That's gonna make it so hard.
Right. No, it's true.
You're gonna have to think of something else to do.
Right. And then you look at we go back and for like the first 2 or 3 years that I was introducing people to Kubb here, I really struggled in trying to get like high school kids or college kids to play. It was just a demographic group that I wasn't in tune with. I got 2 little kids, and I'm way past that age population group and everything like that. But to see these younger kids start playing and to view it as a sport and seeing their friends get introduced to it and to see them do well, like it's just going to be even more and more. And all these new teams, their learning curve is 0 games, right? They're just doing it in the backyard with their friends.
No,
that's the first way they learn.
Yeah,
they're watching videos
before they even pick up a set.
Right. Yeah.
It's happening, So
yeah.
It's 6-person all-girl 6-person team. Heather was drilling in the corner. 6-person all-girl chicks with sticks, drilling in the corner. It's going to be hard next year, boys and girls.
Team Kaboom told me that they were playing the Beers, which they loved playing against the Beers, and I was hoping to get Savage over here, Scott over here, because I think he would have had a couple fun questions for you, but everybody's out of town this weekend except for me. But they won the first game, if I remember correctly, and the second game wasn't necessarily going their way, or something happened, and one of the Beers had to use the restroom or had to go get some more beers or something, and then Mary took over the drilling.
She can drill.
And they said Mary just started throwing them in there too. I mean, it's like the whole team. It's just everybody does it, and that's one of the things in your ladder tournament that you guys do throughout the year. I think it makes it so that everybody is playing every aspect of the game.
Yeah,
right.
Our ranked tournaments, 1v1. You gotta have a little bit of all of the aspects of the game, to stay on top, and it's good practice. Like I said, I see that more as practice. As it, one-on-one. I'm a big team sport person. I'll play one-on-one, but and having the ranked tournament definitely gets you more games in for practice and all that. But it's not Kubb, it's practice. But it's a great way to learn all the aspects of the game and still have a little something, on the line that you're working for. Had a lot of success with the ladder in Des Moines. I would encourage folks to do it. Just don't take it too serious, because one-on-one's great and all. And I think Ryan Colden up in Thief River Falls, they have one-on-one tournaments and stuff. But it just gets funner with more people. I mean, so I'm looking forward to Dallas more than anything. We talk about people on teams.
Right.
6. That's the magic number, man.
Yeah.
That's going to be a blast.
It's going to be a good time. So uh-oh, here comes the little ones. So, we're being, don't hurt us. They,
No, we stole them from you.
I'm going to get you.
So, my interview left. But, you had mentioned you liked the 2-day thing. We got a lot of positive feedback from regarding 3-player teams, and I just felt like there was so much more energy, and the team aspect of it really increased, like more than twofold or whatever. But did you sense that out there too and everything, or in your team?
What I noticed was it feels more like a huddle when there's 3.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? When it's 2 and you're talking, it's like not the same. I don't know, and it's easier to get 2 people kind of in a slump at the same time, but you add that 3rd person that can kind of help you out and get you some morale boost, tell you it's going to be all right.
Right.
That helps a lot too. I love more people per team. Give me 6.
Give me 6. Yeah. We're gonna give that a go up in Dallas. That'll be fun. 2 more questions I want to ask you. The last one I want you to be able to talk about your tournament coming up down in Des Moines on September 22nd. But I'd be remiss to not give you just a few minutes. And we talked about drilling and things like that. And you won the award for the best encoster at the tournament and everything, and rightfully so in my opinion. But I think we wouldn't be doing a service right now if you have any just words of advice to anybody out there that wants to get better, that doesn't know how to do it. From anywhere that's never even picked up a Kubb, because people are going to watch this a year from now. They're going to be watching this or whatever. But somebody hasn't picked up a Kubb and they want to start doing it, or somebody that's halfway decent and they want to get to the level that some people are at. What kind of advice would you give them?
If they've thrown a football, they can throw a Kubb. Look at any college or pro football game and watch the referees and how they throw that ball. It's like that. You can practice with a football, and it's the spin, right? So the other thing that I like to tell people, and it seems to work, is when you get that motion down where you're spinning it like you would like a football. When you've got that motion down, what you need to remember is to crash the plane, right, instead of landing the shuttle. So you want the nose of the Kubb to crash, into the ground, and that's what's going to stop it in place, hopefully, for you. And then once you've kind of got that down, the next step is changing the angle of the Kubb as it goes through the air from, having kind of a left trajectory or a right trajectory, and that will help you kind of, keep it from, you want it to bounce in a certain way, and what that allows you to do is choose which way you want it to bounce. Do you want it to bounce from left to right, right to left? Do you just want it to die on impact, keep it straight, and continue to play with that and find out what works best for you? I saw so many different ways that people were drilling it, and I learned a few things. There's folks that do it what we call back home short side, which is the pin is to your throwing arm. So you're in the corner next to the pin.
Okay.
And then there's long side, which is you're throwing kind of away from your off arm is by the pin. And there were folks that were throwing at mid level. I think it was Garrick Van Buren does this. He's pretty good at it. He'll throw it almost at the middle of the baseline towards a corner, and he'll get it so that it stops right behind the pin, and then it's forced in. It's just, and something is going to happen where someone figures out a different drill type that's going to amaze everyone. So make sure you're the one that does it. Right. You know.
Then they can have their YouTube videos.
Yep.
It's the technique, I guess, if you will, that's kind of people are using here more and more is kind of go back to Scott, how they kind of spread your legs equal distance apart or whatever, and kind of between the knees or whatever, and do it through. And more people here are actually doing that. Some of the kids are doing it. I've heard from some of the parents that it's easier for kids to do it that way. I haven't really thought about it a whole lot, but it's kind of an interesting technique. Sometimes I wonder if that's how the first person drilled, if we'd all be drilling that way. You know, I don't know, but myself, I like it the way I do it.
You got to try it.
You got to
try it.
Yeah.
It, you know, it didn't work for me.
Right.
Works for a lot of people really well. I don't know what it is, but it might come down to release point. You might be more comfortable with a higher release point.
Right.
I think that's what it comes down for me is like, I want my cubes coming out of my hands like at eye level, you know, so that when they come down, they're at a harder angle, you know, but it works.
Right.
I mean, they take home hardware when they
do it that way. Yeah,
right?
whatever works, man, it works. That's for sure.
I can't wait for seeing something different.
The door, but I don't know who.
Okay. We better. This is gone. This is big time. We've gone 45 minutes here. So, one more thing about that. You're an angles guy, though, right? You like to play around with trying to get that Kubb to be coming in at not just left to right and right to left, but at different angles of coming in right to left and left to right. You know what I'm saying?
I try. Yeah. That's the. Yeah. Harder angle gave you a little bit of bounce. Softer angle let it skip a little more. Early cuts, you can walk the Kubbs right in front of a pile, and they just kind of crash into the front of the pile, and they kind of set up your kingpin, if you will. Yeah, and it's just a matter of playing with it and finding what works.
Yep. And then, kind of what I've been throwing around, I'll copyright this or trademark this, but I've said this a couple times now, is that a good incast array, I look at that individual now as an artist with a boxer's mentality.
Listen to this guy.
Right? You like that or not? Is that cheesy?
No, that's great.
I mean, because if you have 6 Kubbs out there, right? You have to envision how you want that 7th one. You're just not throwing it out there. I mean, you're trying to put it in a certain area. So you're trying to paint a picture.
Go that way, but
but you're thinking that. You have to think that if you're going to be at that level and compete against all these other people. At the same time, the analogy of Kubb being like boxing, I can't get enough of that, because when I'm out there playing, I feel that. I feel like we're trying to go back and forth against each other, and who's punching harder and who's got another punch in them, and sometimes the team comes out and you have them on the ropes, you know, and you got to fight back. And the best way to fight back, in my opinion, sometimes, or the only way to fight back sometimes, is to have a great group and knock 4 or 5 down with one throw, and then attack that baseline.
Yeah, Chris Hodges told me about that analogy. And I can't get more on board with it. There's the sluggers. So I look at sluggers as the 8 meter teams, like a Tad Kubler, big slugger team, right? Sweden Suns.
No, I'm just kidding. No, big. Right? I'm just kidding. I'm just sorry. Go ahead.
And then there's the boxers, you know, that just hang in there. You know, they chisel away. Maybe only get one baseline. You know, every other round. But they're always there. They're grouping. They're clearing the field. They're not leaving advantage lines, and they're just waiting for that chance, right? They're waiting for the time when, you know, the baton hits the group and 5 go down. Right. You know, and those are the 2 styles that I guess I kind of, you know, I don't like stereotypes, but there's the boxers. And, you know, defense probably a little bit more. They're trying to raise the Kubbs perfectly to use the most amount of batons. And then there's the sluggers that's like, dude, I don't care about throwing Kubbs. I'm just going to hit 5, you know. So that's
and now there's teams that are both, though. Yeah. I mean, there's a handful of teams out there.
Well, when you add another person, you can be both.
Yeah, you can be both, yeah. All right, enough of that. I want to give you, as long as you want, to talk about your tournament down in Des Moines.
Thanks.
The meat grinder, as I call it. Yep. But just whatever you want to talk about with it. I think a lot of people already know about it, but I want to just let you get out there.
I love that you call it the meat grinder. I do. I don't. I'm sometimes I'm concerned that people will hear that and they're like, oh, this isn't going to be the tournament for me, you know.
/ the Fall Classic. We'll call it that.
So the Fall Classic's unique. In it, we kind of stole some stuff from chess, since, you know, nickname's Viking Chess Kubb, which is a Swiss type tournament system where after every round we look at the results, and then we pair you with a team that is representative of that team's level. So what that means is you'll never see the same. First of all, you'll never see the same team twice all day. You might see them in the finals, but we've got 6 matches that you're guaranteed. 6 matches you're guaranteed, and you never see the same team twice. So you get to meet all kinds of new teams, right? Secondly, if you win your game, let's say you win your first game in the round, the next game you play is against a team that won their game, right? So that's where Eric says meat grinder, right? Because Eric kept winning, and he kept playing teams that won, right? So he's like, oh, this is a meat grinder. I can't believe it. Crazy. Holy wow.
Holy wow. Holy wow.
But on the flip side, let's say you're there, you're casual team, recreational team, right? And you lose your first game, right? You're going to get paired with someone that lost their game too, right? So you're going to be playing the best Kubb of your life all day at this tournament, regardless of your skill level. So this tournament, we call it the meat grinder, just means that all of your games are going to be competitive, right? Maybe not the first one, because we kind of try to pair as good as we can, or we do it random, but after that, everything starts kind of coming together, and you're playing some of the best games regardless of skill level. So I just want to kind of talk about the format. And I played last year in that format. I'm running it this year, so I will not be playing. Dwayne, my teammate on Knockerheads, is bringing his Kansas crew up, so you guys better watch out. Yeah.
Team Good Game.
Team Good Game's coming up
Good Game.
from Kansas. Chris Hodges from Incubus this year is partnering with my other partner, Grant. So they're going to be the Los Padres.
Yeah, Los Padres.
So we've got some really good representation. Sweden Sun's coming down. We've got a couple teams. Team from Roscoe, Illinois. If you guys are watching, thanks for signing up. We'll see you in a couple months. We've got 13 pre-registrations already. I got a piece of paper at home where I write down when someone tells me, hey, I'm going to come to your tournament, pencil me in, right? I got 33 people on that between pre-registrations.
Really?
So you guys need to get...
And you're stopping at 32, right?
And we're going to stop at 32.
Okay.
So you guys need to get signed up for this thing. It's going to be amazing. Pre-registration, August 1st, we're doing an early bird discount, just $10 off if you get pre-registered at www.desmoines.kubb.com. Just go to the tournaments tab there, get signed up for this tournament. It's going to be awesome. We're going to have finals, so we'll take the top 8 out of the group play. Top 8 go to finals pitches. There's going to be 4 finals pitches chalked.
That was awesome.
Under lighting.
Yeah, that was awesome.
So, right? So we're going to have stadium lighting, we're going to have bleachers, and 4 new old-time game sets are getting cracked open for that. So it's all going to be, the parity's going to be there, right? So everyone's on new ground, and it's going to be awesome. So make sure to check that out. September 22nd. That is a Saturday in September, so come down for that. We're going to have a pre-Kubb party on Friday, so make sure to stay in town Friday night. We got a sponsor, Raccoon River Brewing Company downtown, is going to let us come down, and they're giving us some really good deals.
That's downtown Des Moines?
Yeah, that's downtown.
Awesome.
So last year we did something out kind of in the subs, but this year we are bringing the party downtown to give people the atmosphere that they deserve, because it's an amazing city. It's fun, and Raccoon River is insane. And I'm getting striked out. I'm taking too long. Holy smokes!
I will say this: is we got third last year, and we came home with 2 really cool batons, and they were painted as corn. That was awesome.
Yeah, that's right.
That was awesome. That was really cool.
Yeah, we got a guy that worked with that painter that knew him. And Ken Matt Logan, he's helping us kind of. He's our street team guy, so he goes out and does all the he puts all the posters up for us. But he got us those painted trophies, and then Mary Tapkin, she's doing. You all saw those shirts at Nationals, right? Well, she's doing our shirts for this tournament, and they are amazing. You can go get a sneak peek when you register. It's the only way to do it, though. You got to go pre-register, then you can take a look.
And
but,
the food. There's food there with the Girl Scouts, right?
Yeah, it was Girl Scouts last year. We're working with either the Kubb or Girl Scouts again this year.
Awesome. That was great.
Yep. And the trophies this year, I just got a shout out to Tim Ahrens. He owns a company where he, like when you're watching like 30-minute meals with Rachel Ray, he's kind of the guy that would build her kitchen, right? So this guy is an artisan when it comes to woodworking.
Yeah.
And he's doing the trophies. Okay. He's doing the trophies this year for us. They are going to be something you will not want to. You want a chance at these. Oh my gosh, these things are going to be awesome. And I don't know if you saw He usually does a Kubb set for us.
Last year
he did that inlaid.
Yeah.
It was like curly maple, and it was just insane.
That was amazing.
And then 2 years ago, he did a set, and that set at the silent auction went for like $165. Dwayne bought it, and we played it that night, and it was awesome. I mean, those sets are so amazing that he does. And I got sick of doing sets. I was like, no. Mm-hmm. This needs to be sitting on someone's mantle. This woodwork needs to be. So he has some ideas. He's thinking maybe something that's a little more organic, looking, a lot of curvature to it. Mm-hmm. And he got some ideas coming up, and I just can't wait to see him. I've been bugging. I probably bug him every week just to get a sneak peek at some of the trophies he's putting together for us.
So if you're thinking about going down to Des Moines, you need to register now.
That's the plan.
Yeah, you need to register now. September 22nd is the tournament day. We were down there. It was beautiful. 22nd. It was beautiful.
It was Tower Park.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it'll. I think we started late last year. We're going to start a little earlier this year. And then we're going to start the finals around 3, I think, for the final 8. So
what I loved is it was cool in the morning. Like we had our stocking caps on and everything. Even us guys from way up here. I mean, it was a little chilly. During the day, it was perfect. Mm-hmm. It was like jeans and like long sleeve shirts. It was perfect. And then in the evening, it got cool again, and not cold, but just nice and cool. It was awesome. It was just a beautiful day, man. The park is nice. It's a fair. I think it's a very fair park. And it's nice.
I gotta somehow trick those Planet Kubb folks to come down and do scoring for us at our tournament. I don't know how I'm gonna do that yet. I don't know. But you saw. I mean, all the stats. I don't know if anyone out there in TV lands ever went out to planetkubb.com, but you can look at all of the freaking stats from last weekend. For Sunday. Every game, Sunday, recorded, stats available. Individual players available on planetkubb.com. If you go out to YouTube and you look at some of the videos, I think in the comments we put the links to the stats as well. Yep. So they've got some big ideas for that. Mm-hmm. And they're also, I was talking with Jamie about putting, like, for anybody out there that wants to, like, start your own tournament, we don't really have, like, a good way of, like, saying, here's the things that we learned, right, as a community. So we kind of talked about maybe putting something out there where you could go out there and kind of look and say, here's some FAQs on tournaments, mm-hmm. and, here's some, here's how long an average game takes. So we got stats on that, right? All this stuff, I see that growing really big, and I just hope that everyone is going out there and using it worldwide. I want to see all the stuff from Worlds out there. It's nobody's. That the two guys that put the most time in it. It's not theirs. It's the community's, right? Yep. So don't look at it as something that these guys put together. It's there. It was built by them. For everyone else, and what they're doing is pretty sweet. So
it's awesome, man. It's the wiki page they have, and the Ask Kubb or Ask Planet Kubb page. It's generating a lot of questions, and it's great to generate ideas and some of us we it's tough to talk to people and get ideas from people all the time, and we live in our little own, at least I do sometimes, live in my little own vacuum or whatever, and it's great to hear what other people are thinking and what they would like to see, and because that's the goal is to keep doing it. Obviously the sport's growing and the game's growing, and how do we keep it growing in a positive way, with
Right.
different things. And I think Planet Kubb right now is a means for all of us. No, we don't. I mean, so. Well, hey, thanks a lot, man. I appreciate it. And speaking of the other tournaments, I'm just going to say real quick, Decorah Nordic Fest is next weekend, next Saturday.
Yep, that's right.
So I am so fired up about that tournament. I think Jason put a thing out there where he was having a little trouble with locals signing up for it, and that's just the real world because they haven't seen this. But these local people, they're gonna see these teams come down and play, and they're gonna fall in love with the sport. It's gonna be awesome. After that, we have, this smells good. Is this mint? Oh yeah, thank you. After that, August 18th, we had the Clash of Kubb over in Appleton. Yeah. And they showcased,
saw their trophies.
Yeah, that was amazing.
Oh.
It was a shield that was like the size of my chest. I mean, it was huge.
You know, my Uncle Steve, he's going to both of those, and if he wins that shield, he'll put it on the hood of his car or something. You
Drive him back to Des Moines.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. No, that was amazing. They really stepped.
You're glad to see your little princess.
Yeah, Daddy's princess. They really stepped it up. They thought outside the box. They thought, okay, what's going to make this really unique? And I really like what they're doing over there with
thematic.
their
It's thematic.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool.
They go all out.
Then after that, we have that's August 18th. September 22nd is
Des Moines.
Des Moines. Then the 29th is the Georgia Championship.
Let's do it.
Let's just go down. Let's take a road trip.
Let's go.
Let's do it. Why not? I mean, can you imagine if Kubb took off in Atlanta? Atlanta's huge, right? They probably have just as many people as like Wisconsin. I mean, it's a big city.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
I mean,
huge.
it's huge.
I've driven on we're talking 8-lane highways going through that city.
Yeah.
It's
I mean, in a couple years, if eat it.
This is.
Well, it is good. And then after that, Dallas.
Yeah.
Dallas Oktoberfest, six person teams, World Championship style. Registration hasn't opened for that yet, August 1st, but all the other tournaments, they all are open. Yeah. They're all open for registration.
So let's talk about that Kubb Harmony thing for all the folks that are thinking about Dallas, but maybe.
Yep.
So what we're going to try to do, I think, because there's a lot of people out there that probably want to go, but maybe can't get 6 teams or 6 players for their team. What we were thinking about is maybe setting up something online where we could kind of, like eHarmony, right? But Kubb Harmony, trying to find people, the teams, and get enough teams so that no one goes up there, thinking they can play, and then it's like, oh, sorry, everything's full. So
thank you.
Look for that. I don't know how. I mean, this was just like this idea that we had today. Right. So, but we'll put it into motion. And try to get people on teams, because it isn't, we're in Des Moines, we'll take anybody. We're not picky, we just want to play Kubb. More teams the better.
Petal.
Okay.
That's
poison.
That's poison right
no,
there.
Daddy,
No.
it's one of those flowers that you can eat.
Okay. I'll eat it when I'm
sure?
done. I'm just about done. I think one thing we can start off with is when you do register, if you have interest, my email my email is on there for registration. So if you have like 2 or 3 players and you really want to play in Dallas, email me, right? Just send me an email and say, hey, I got 2 or 3 players or 4 players, 5 players, whatever it is. I want to play in Dallas. We'd like to get up there. We just can't make it with 6 persons. That's totally understandable. 6 players is a lot of players, right? And just give me an email. Also, there's a Facebook page for the Dallas tournament. Go on there for these starters, and just go on there and put out a little note or whatever message and say, hey, we're 3 people from Stevens Point. We'd like to come over and play in the tournament, but we can't find 4, 5, and 6. Do you know anybody?
Yeah.
And hopefully we can try to get enough people to do that and team up with people and have a good time with
them.
I
heard a rumor that maybe there's a team from Des Moines that might pair up with a team in up north, so we'll have to see how that goes.
Yeah, why not, right? This is the place to do it.
That's right.
Yeah, and it is tough to get 6. I mean, it was tough for some people to get 3 this year for the championship. So if you want to play, do that. There's going to be there's going to be other teams from different states teaming up together, and I think that's pretty cool. I forgot if it was I think it was Chris said it to me or you, or I forgot, but somebody said it'd be fun to get a team together that has players from all 3 of our kind of upper Midwest states that are playing at Minnesota, Iowa, and Wisconsin.
Make it 6 states.
6 states, yeah. Make it one from each. Throw
Exactly.
Illinois in there and everything. So, but so with that being said, we'll just contact us regarding that, and we'll set that up. So again, thanks a lot, man, and congratulations on second.
Hi,
and everything.
Mom.
Man, it was awesome. So hey, Mom, I'll do that too. So, but thanks again. Thanks for coming to Eau Claire and eating lunch with my family,
Oh, no
and
problem,
it's a
man.
good time. So we'll
Thanks
talk to you soon.
for inviting me.
Yep, thank you. Have a good night, everybody. USAKubb.org.